Naruto, God-level system author, Blue Water God. Chapter 6, Meeting the Three Ninjas of Youth. After resting in bed for a morning, Orochimaru recovered. In fact, his body had recovered a long time ago, but his energy recovery was a little slow. At noon, Orochimaru did not cook, but went out to eat a barbecue, and then came to the back mountain again. Now that there are chakras, it's time to show the power of Tenseigan. No one came from the back mountain, so Orochimaru could use it with confidence, not afraid of being seen by others. Although Sarutobi Hizen has the technique of binoculars, will he have nothing to monitor the back mountain? Hokage is so free. Vientiane. Orochimaru shouted loudly, and then a small stone in the distance was grabbed by Orochimaru. Looking at the small stone in his hand, Orochimaru felt a little embarrassed. He threw the stone in his hand and sat on the ground. Fortunately, no one saw it. It was too embarrassing. Feeling the consumption of 1/10 of the chakra in the body, Orochimaru smiled bitterly. This chakra is really worthless. However, the S-level big move was used by Orochimaru to achieve a D-level effect. This is also unprecedented, and no one has come since. In fact, speaking, this can only be the same as the ability of the Vientiane, not the Vientiane, but the gravitational control of the Tenseigan. It seems that it is still too early to use Tenseigan now, and there is no power at all. Orochimaru said helplessly. Even if he spends all the chakra, at most the power of C-level ninjutsu, it is better to use C-level ninjutsu. If he uses the technique of the fireball, Orochimaru estimates that his chakra can be used 3 times. Orochimaru stood up and stared at the front with a serious look. Huo Dunhao fireball technique. 4 seals per second, and in more than a second, a large fireball was sprayed out by Orochimaru and hit a tree. The big tree that one person hugged was broken in 2 in an instant, and the raging flames burned, and the huge power surprised Orochimaru. Although it is incomparable to those ninjutsu who leveled a village at once, but this is the first time for Orochimaru to see the power of ninjutsu in a real sense. What you see in an anime is different from what you see in real life. Next, Orochimaru extinguished the flame and began to practice morphological and qualitative changes. The morphological change is easy to handle. Orochimaru will screw the pill, and he will fully grasp the morphological change. After a while, the change of nature is to add attributes to the chakra. For example, the fireball technique used by Orochimaru just now is to add the change of the nature of the fire attribute. The combination of the nature changes of the 2 attributes can become a bloodstain boundary, but there are not many in the entire ninja world. Changes in nature are also easy to control. After all, Orochimaru has all the chakra attributes, and the system has improved his talent, which is an advantage. After that, Orochimaru began to practice chakra control, and wanted to practice chakra control, climbing trees and treading water. There is a small stream in the back mountain, which is just the right time to practice treading water. Although he is very confident in his chakra control, for the sake of safety, Orochimaru practiced simple tree climbing first. The Hyuga family's control of chakra is innate. After all, it is a family that relies on acupuncture points for a living. Isn't it accurate to control chakra? So I passed the tree climbing once, and after I stepped on the water and fell a few times, I could easily control it. Now even when the wind is blowing, Orochimaru can also stand steadily on the water. After mastering these basic things, the rest is to practice hard physique and improve chakra. Chakra refining is good for a few hours a day, but physical skills really need cooling. According to the unique method of improving physical fitness among the 6 naval styles, Orochimaru started exercising, 1 point of sweat and 1 point of gain. While others were still happily playing ninja games, Orochimaru began to practice bitterly. Orochimaru is not envious of other people's fun. He is working so hard now to have a better life in the future. Don't look at Orochimaru's system, but compared to Naruto Uzumaki and Sasuke Uchiha, he really can't compare. When Naruto ended, they were only 17 years old, and Nima had the strength of the 6 paths. Can this be compared? Orochimaru feels that even if he is open, he may not be able to become a powerhouse at the 6th path level before the age of 17, and it is still possible to fight against the 6th path level. Thinking about it at this time, Orochimaru felt that the protagonist was too big, and he couldn't catch up with them even with his own system, which was a shame. It's good to have a strong father. Orochimaru sat on the ground and sighed with emotion. Then rest for a while, and then devote himself to the practice again. At this time, Hyuga Tsin turned into a desperate Saburo, and the intensity of his practice is that of a normal physique type Chunin, which cannot be achieved. Time is like water, it will never return, and in a blink of an eye, a year has passed. Today, it is rare for Orochimaru to not practice cultivation, but to come to the most prosperous street in Konoha, ready to have a big meal and celebrate. Just yesterday, his chakra reached the level of Sharingan, and his other comprehensive qualities, physique, and the purity of chakra also reached the level of Chunin. Orochimaru also doesn't know what Hokage's strength is based on, but he guesses it should be the purity of chakra. But that's it, he's also a Chunin now. The 4-year-old Chunin is much stronger than the 6-year-old Kakashi. Of course, if the Kakashi is hanging up, he will not be as good as Kakashi. Just don't mess with it and hit him with a piece of tofu. Got it? Although Rixianchin is a Chunin, it is very easy to hang and fight the upper shinobi. First of all, Rixianchin, who has kept up with the physical fitness of the Navy 6th form, can already be used. Tensugan's ability to manipulate puppets, extract chakra, read other people's memories, repulsion and gravitational abilities can also be easily used. Although Rixianchin has not tried it, but relying on repulsive force to block a grade ninjutsu, this should be no problem, and it is even easier to knock down the ninja. The most important thing is the glittering fruit. Now Rixianchin can be partially elementalized, and laser can be used, but the power is a little small. However, the speed of the laser is fast, and depending on the unexpected speed, even the shadow-level powerhouse may be attacked. Rixianchin was walking, and suddenly saw 3 familiar figures. Is this the Sannin in his youth? Tsunade's cow chariot is not that big now, Rixianchin said softly. Little devil, what are you looking at? Tsunade is now an elite jonin, and is very sensitive to other people's eyes. Rixianchin has been staring at Tsunade's chest, and Tsunade can naturally detect it. If it wasn't for seeing Rixianchin as a child, the grumpy Tsunade would have stepped forward to beat him. Nothing. Rixianchin pouted in disdain, then turned his head and left. Ha ha ha, this kid thinks your chest is too small. Zai Lai also said mortally. Bang. The earth cracked open and cracked, and the surrounding civilians quickly dispersed. Jiraiya swallowed his saliva, and cold sweat left on his forehead. Orochimaru, who had been watching from the sidelines, twitched the corners of his mouth a few times. What did you say? Tsunade stared at Jiraiya fiercely. Chapter 7. Orochimaru's attention. Hearing the movement, Rixianchin also turned his head and looked at Tsunade's feet, the cracks like spider webs. Rixianchin looked at it. It should be 10 meters in diameter. It's really violent. If I take a blow, I'll definitely be maimed. Rixianchin wiped the cold sweat that didn't exist on his face. Although Rixianchin practiced taijutsu as a whole, and also had a training collection such as the 6th form of the Navy, due to age restrictions, physique alone would not be able to hit such a powerful attack. And Rixianchin knew that Tsunade didn't use all his strength, and he didn't know how strong Tsunade would be if he did his best. The pitiful look came at him, and Rixianchin was going to sneak away first, but now he can't afford to offend others. Let's talk about it later when he becomes stronger. Tsunade, that kid who mocked you, is going to escape now. Jiraiya, who was stared at by Tsunade with sweat all over his head, was very unscrupulous, and used Rixianchin as a shield. Rixianchin's footsteps were stagnant. If he could, he really wanted to strangle Jiraiya. This uncle, when have I ever ridiculed a beautiful sister? I just sighed. How could such a beautiful sister go with you, an ugly one? Since Jiraiya has no integrity, Rixianchin is no longer merciful. Anyway, he understands Jiraiya and knows that he will not be angry. Zai Lai also heard the words. The whole person turned grey, the uncle and the ugly, constantly passing through his mind. PFFT. Tsunade smiled. Then he walked to Rixianchin's side, stretched out his hand and squeezed Rixianchin's face. Which child are you? You can speak quite well. Resisting the discomfort of being pinched, Rixianchin said cutely, what I said is the truth. My sister is the most beautiful girl I have ever seen. Rixianchin did not lie about this, although Tsunade is now a pair of A, but the appearance did not say. It is definitely the most beautiful thing that Rixianchin has seen in his previous life and this life. My sister likes you, the most honest child. Tsunade said happily. From childhood to adulthood, Rixianchin was still the first person to praise her for her beauty. Although Tsunade behaves like a female man, what girl doesn't like others to praise her beauty? He tilde. Rixianchin twitched the corner of his mouth where Tsunade couldn't see it. He was really not humble at all. Zai Lai also recovered from the petrification state, and said unhappily, Tsunade, don't be deceived. This kid is full of lies and not honest at all. He is only 14 years old now, and he is very unhappy with Rixianchin's uncle. And Zai Lai also asked himself that he was not bad looking. This kid called him ugly. Although Zai Lai wouldn't care about Rixianchin, he was still very upset. Oh that uncle, if you say I'm lying, don't you think my sister is not pretty? Rixianchin asked with a smile. Hearing this, Tsunade's happy face changed instantly. His face was covered with clouds, and he looked at Jiraiya coldly. Zai Lai also looked at Tsunade's icy gaze, as well as Rixianchin's smug gaze, wanting to cry without tears. Unexpectedly, he was actually put out by a child. At this time, Zai Lai also had some doubts about his IQ. Uncle Snake, who was silent for a while and had a weak sense of existence, said in a cold voice, idiot. This idiot sentence is very appropriate. When Orochimaru called him an idiot, he would refute it loudly. This time, he surprisingly did not refute, but fell into silence. Now Zai Lai is also doubting life, wondering if he is really an idiot, otherwise he can't even fight a kid. Jiraiya, don't play stupid to me. What did you mean just now? Tsunade's hair was floating. Jiraiya also woke up and looked at the furious Tsunade with a bitter smile on his face. I have to go on a mission tomorrow. Can you beat me lightly? Zai Lai also swallowed his saliva and said with difficulty. What do you think? Tsunade had a sneer on his face. Sister, just let this uncle go. I don't look like he's pretending to be stupid. Xianchen came over and pulled Tsunade's arm. Zilai also saw Xianchen talking to himself, with a grateful expression on his face. It seems that this little devil is not too annoying, and Zilai also thought to himself. However, Jiraiya's conclusion was too early. Before he could express his gratitude, the words behind Xianchen made his expression froze. I think he is really stupid, not pretending to be stupid. This IQ is in arrears, and he should go to recharge. PFFT. Tsunade laughed again at Xianchen's words, reaching out and rubbing Xianchen's head. This little guy, his hair is really smooth, it's quite comfortable to knead. Tsunade said secretly. Xianchen felt a little unhappy, although he just pretended to be tender and cute, and his body looked like a 4-year-old, but this could not deny that he was already an adult. Being touched like this, even if the person touching his head is a beautiful woman, Xianchen is also very upset. Haha, it's really interesting. It seemed that Xianchen glanced, and Orochimaru flashed a ray of light in his eyes. Tsunade's aura just burst out, and even the elites would shiver with fear. But there was nothing wrong with Xianchen, which attracted the attention of the careful Orochimaru. Xianchen didn't know either, because of this incident, it attracted Orochimaru's attention. Just know, Xianchen will not care. The current Orochimaru is not the future Orochimaru. The current Orochimaru does not talk about sunshine, but it is not so gloomy, and at this time, Orochimaru has not conducted research, and has a strong sense of belonging to the village. Even if Orochimaru really shot against Xianchen was not afraid. Although he couldn't beat Orochimaru didn't even want to take him down. With tears of thick noodles on his face, Jiraiya ran to the corner tower to draw circles, obviously being hit hard by Xianchen. I used to be ugly, but now I've become a toad. Looking at Jiraiya, Xianchen continued to speak viciously. Tilda stinky brat, I want to fight you. Zilai stood up angrily. Ha ha. Xianchen laughed sarcastically, looking at Jiraiya with an idiot expression on his face. Tsunade and Orochimaru, like Xianchen, looked at Jiraiya like an idiot. What happened to you? Zilai also asked in confusion. Idiot. Dueling with a child, you really have a face in Jiraiya. Tsunade glared at Jiraiya. It was only at this time that Jiraiya also remembered that Xianchen was just a child. He fought to duel with a child. If he won, he would bully the child, and if he lost, he would be inferior to even a child. Then his face of Jiraiya will be humiliated and thrown to other ninja villages. And the most important thing is that his teacher Sarutobi Hizen will also be embarrassed along with him. Chapter 8. Tsunade invites you to dinner. It's a shame to have a teammate like you, Jiraiya. Orochimaru said lightly. That's right. Your reputation is not good. If you add the crime of bullying children, you will become a rat crossing the street, and everyone will shout and beat you. Tsunade said jokingly. Xianchen also held his arms and looked at Jiraiya with a dull expression. In fact, if he really fights with Jiraiya, Xianchen is sure to defeat him, and Jiraiya's current strength is one step worse than Orochimaru and Tsunade. If Tsunade is the strength of the elite Jounin, Orochimaru is close to the strength of Junkage, and Jiraiya is also the Jounin. This is not to belittle Jiraiya. If it is in the future, Jiraiya with the immortal mode may be the strongest fighting force among the 3 ninjas. But the current Jiraiya has not yet gone to Mioma Mountain in the 3 holy places, and his aptitude is not comparable to Orochimaru and Tsunade, so he is indeed a little weak. He now has the strength of Jounin, and he still relies on hard training. Compared with Orochimaru and Tsunade, Jiraiya, who is smiling on the surface, may have put in more effort behind the scenes. Jiraiya is also one of the most important characters in Hokage. It can be said that without Jiraiya, there will be no future Naruto. Jiraiya and Iuka are definitely the 2 most important people to Naruto. After talking for so long, what's your name that you don't know yet? Tsunade turned to look at Xianchen and asked. Sister beautiful, my name is Xianchen. Xianchen said with a smile. Tsunade was stunned for a moment, then looked at Xianchen's azure blue eyes, with the stars flowing in them, so gorgeous that Tsunade almost got lost in it. Sister, what's wrong with you? Xianchen pulled Tsunade with his hand. Tsunade came back to his senses, smiled and said, it's nothing, little brother, your eyes are so beautiful, I'm fascinated by my sister. Little brother? Xianchen had a black line on his face. Orochimaru looked into Xianchen's eyes with a thoughtful expression. Just now, Orochimaru looked into Xianchen's eyes and noticed a trace of danger from it. Looking deeply at Xianchen, Orochimaru kept silent, and became more interested in Xianchen. If Xianchen knew that the pervert, Orochimaru, was thinking of him, he would definitely feel chills. Since you have introduced yourself, let's introduce ourselves, Tsunade said with a smile. No need for Tsunade, I think he already knows who we are. The vertical pupils in Orochimaru's eyes stared at Xianchen. Xianchen was stunned when he heard the words, and then said, yes, I do know you. After all, I am a disciple of Hokage. No one in Konoha does not know you, especially Princess Tsunade. Little devil, so you know us. Knowing our identities makes me so embarrassed. Little devil, you are dead. Zilai also threatened Xianchen. Sister Tsunade, This ugly uncle threatens me, Ruxianchin said, hiding behind Tsunade. Jiraiya also saw Tsunade's gaze swept over, and immediately persuaded. Little devil, you said your name is Ruxianchin. You are from the Hyuga family. As a Hyuga family, you don't have white A's. You are the trash that the Sun Xiang family said, and you don't have white A's. Jiraiya. Tsunade's voice increased a bit. At this time, Zilai also reacted, and quickly apologized to Ruxianchin. It's okay, I don't care about this, time will prove everything. Ruxianchin was not angry at all. He knows his own situation. Ruxianchin doesn't care too much about what others say, just like he said, time will prove everything. I didn't expect your mentality to be so good. If someone said that to me, I would have punched him to death. Tsunade said, and made a fist at Jiraiya. In a good mood? Ha! This is the bottom line, that no one touches Ruxianchin. Ruxianchin used to be a good gentleman. As long as his own interests are not affected, Ruxianchin will say yes with a smile. But once someone moves his interests, Ruxianchin will definitely explode. It happens that we are going to the barbecue shop to eat. Why don't you come with us, my sister? I will treat you. Tsunade invited with a smile. Tsunade is still very fond of this Ruxianchin, who is as old as her brother and gives her a sense of closeness. Okay, Ruxianchin agreed with a smile. There is a free lunch, just don't eat for nothing, just to save some money. To be honest, Ruxianchin's economy is a little nervous now, and cultivating the sixth form of the navy consumes too much. Ruxianchin is now a rice bucket. In addition, Ruxianchin has to eat well to ensure his nutrition, so this money is like running water, which is rapidly consumed. Jiraiya also burst into tears, and every time he eats, he actually has to pay for it. Tsunade loves gambling, and he is a big fat sheep with a lot of money. This guy, Orochimaru, is also an iron rooster, so every time he has a dinner, half of the money he prepares to drink flower wine will disappear. Fortunately, I'm just a child, and I can't eat much. Zilai also comforted himself in his heart. When they came to the barbecue restaurant, the boss saw the three Tsunade and greeted them with a smile. It turns out to be a disciple of Hokage. You come here often, and this time I will give you a 30% discount, the boss said boldly. Thank you, boss. Zilai also expressed his gratitude and offered a 30% discount. Is it necessary to leave some extra money? You're welcome, after all, you are all regulars, the boss said with a smile. But after a while, the boss couldn't laugh anymore. After finding a place to sit down, Jiraiya said proudly, whatever you want to eat, little brat, just order it, and I'll pay the bill. That's what you said. The boss will serve 10 plates of roast meat first, and then ask for it after eating. Little devil, for the rest of us, 10 plates of barbecue are not enough. Zilai also said with a smile. I think you misunderstood. I ordered these 10 plates of barbecue for myself. If you want to eat it, order it yourself. Ruxianchin glanced at Zilai and said, What? You can eat 10 plates of barbecue? And you are not afraid of being held to death? Zilai also jumped up. Xiao-chen, don't order so much if you can't eat it. Tsunade also said, don't worry, these are just sprinkles, appetizers. As Ruxianchin spoke, he put the barbecue on the grill. Little devil, if you can't eat it, I'll let you go. Although the barbecue here is delicious, it is very expensive. A plate of barbecue is 1,000 tals, and 10 plates of 10,000 tals go out. Okay, after I finish eating, I'll go for a walk. Baya smiled, and Ruxianchin started to cook the barbecue. The three of them, Tsunade, also ordered 10 plates of grilled meat, and also ordered 2 pots or sake. By the way. Chapter 9 Sunward Sunrise. Belge. The food is not bad, thank you for entertaining Uncle Zilai, Ruxianchin said with a hiccup. Looking at the stack of tall plates, the corners of Jiraiya's mouth twitched, and blood was dripping in his heart. Xiao-chen, if you eat so much, won't you be able to last? Tsunade asked in disbelief. She couldn't imagine how Ruxianchin, who was only 4 years old, could eat so much food without her stomach bulging at all. Orochimaru sat quietly beside him as a beautiful man. Anyway, he didn't pay the bill, and he didn't care how much he ate. Not to mention, the current Orochimaru is quite handsome, but the skin is too pale. Don't worry, Sister Tsunade. Ruxianchin waved his hand. This is the method recorded in the 6 naval styles, which can quickly consume food energy and strengthen himself. You kid is really a monster. Zilai also scolded secretly, and then handed over the money with tears in his eyes. Half of the reward for this mission was included. The owner of the barbecue restaurant is also bleeding in his heart. Although he can't say he lost, he didn't make much money. Since I've finished eating, I won't bother Sister Tsunade, and I'll say goodbye. The sky was already getting dark, and it was already evening in the blink of an eye. Looking at Ruxianchin's back, Orochimaru narrowed his eyes slightly and said, this kid from the Ruxiang family is definitely not easy. Isn't it just eating a lot? What's not easy? Zilai is still distressed about his wallet. Idiot. Orochimaru said coldly, then turned to leave. Bastard Orochimaru, who are you calling an idiot? Stop for me. Zilai also chased after him angrily. Tsunade ignored the two of them and looked at Rixianchen's back thoughtfully. She had felt a familiar aura on Rixianchen before. Now she finally remembered that this breath was very similar to that of her grandfather, Kaienzu Hashirama. Forget it. I'm disdainful, but this little guy is really cute, much better than that idiot brother of Nawaki. Tsunade's eyes flashed doting when he said Nawaki. Glancing at Rixianchen's back again, Tsunade turned and returned to the residence of the Kaienzu clan. I didn't expect to come out this time, and it's really interesting to meet Sanren as a teenager, Rixianchen said with a smile. He didn't expect that he would meet Sanren on the street, but he ate a barbecue for nothing, and got familiar with Sanren, which was not bad. Returning to the Hyuga family, when passing the training ground, I suddenly remembered a sound. The sun is about to go down. Is there still someone training? It's really hard work. Go and see. Rixianchen paused, then turned a corner and walked towards the training ground of the Hyuga family. It turned out to be a daily difference. I didn't expect you to work so hard. It's already dark, and you're still training here. Seeing the familiar figure, Rixianchen said with a smile. Hyuga Rizari turned his head and glanced at Rixianchen, and then continued to train against the stake, with chakra wrapped around his palm. Obviously chakra has been refined. Looking at your appearance, it's more like venting your dissatisfaction. Rixianchen smiled. Hyuga Rizari turned his head sharply, his eyes staring at Rixianchen. It's none of your business. You're just a waste. You don't even have the eyes of the family, and you don't deserve the name of Hyuga. Looking at Rixianchen's bright and clean forehead, a hint of envy flashed in his eyes. Although the Hyuga regalme was quickly put away, it was still noticed by the keen-eyed Sun Xianchen. It's very tough on the outside, but it's just to cover up your inner fragility. The word seriously is very suitable for you, Rixianchen said sarcastically. Enough. You, a guy who doesn't even have a blank eye, has no right to say that I, like you, a worthless waste, don't know me at all. Hyuga Nisaba clenched his fists and roared. He is not the second-hand guy of Hyuga Teppan. As the son of the patriarch, he naturally knows what a caged bird is. He is very envious of Rixianchen. Even if Rixianchen is in the eyes of all the people of Rixiang's family, he is a waste with impure blood and no white A's. But if possible, Hyuga Rizari really wanted to exchange it with him. From the moment he was engraved with the caged bird spell, Hyuga Rizari knew that his own destiny could no longer be controlled by him. It has been a year, and he has been suffering for a year. A few days ago, he finally got the chakra refining technique. He wanted to save his destiny by practicing hard. TSK, I really don't know you, but I know you are very inferior now. After saying this, Rixianchen stopped talking nonsense with him. He has more important things to do. I don't have time to complain about the difference between listening to the sun and the sun here. The reason why Rixianchen didn't practice today is not only to celebrate his breakthrough in strength, but more importantly, today is his birthday. Although no one remembers his birthday, Rixianchen remembers it himself. In a few hours, he will really be 4 years old. At that time, the system will present another lucky draw opportunity and 10,000 redemption points. After a year of research, he found that apart from waiting for the system to give it away, he couldn't get the exchange points at all, because the system had no tasks. There is no other way to get exchange points. This has advantages and disadvantages. The advantage is that you don't have to be a slave to the system and run around for tasks all day long. The downside is that there is no way to get exchange points, and you can only wait for the system to give it away every year. Relying on the redemption of Rixianchen is no longer a thought. At that point of exchange, nothing can be exchanged at all, and it can only be seen in the lottery. Rixianchen walked towards his house, and the sun behind him was furious. He felt that Rixianchen came here to laugh at him. So the angry Sun Xiang Rishan, regardless of the 37 or 21, raised his fist and hit Rixianchen's back. Of course, Hyuga Rizari was not carried away by anger, and did not use chakra. Rixianchen was working on the lottery, and he didn't pay attention to the day difference behind him, so he was punched in the back. With the sound of touch, Rixianchen came back to his senses, and then turned to look at Rixiang Rigai. You just hit me? Rixiang's face flushed, and he put his red fist behind his back, not wanting Rixianchen to see it. With this fist, Hyuga Nisari felt that he was hitting the iron plate, endured the pain with all his strength, and didn't dare to make a sound at all. He was afraid that he would open his mouth, so he couldn't help screaming. It's really embarrassing to punch someone else and hurt yourself. Rixianchen chuckled, and then said, since you punched me, should I also give you a punch? Saying that, Rixianchen raised his fist, posing for a fight. Chapter 10. This drawer is invalid, please draw again. Hyuga Riga took a few steps back in fear, and then felt a little embarrassed, pinched his neck, and looked up at Rixianchen. If it wasn't for the trembling legs of Hyuga Reaper, Sun Xianchen wouldn't even think he was afraid. Forget it. Rixianchen put down his fists. He didn't have the same knowledge as this little brat, and if he hit him hard, it would be bad if his father didn't know him, and he didn't know his father either. What? You ask him why he doesn't know his father? If your brain is broken, you will not know your father. Don't be complacent. When I learn softboxing, I will definitely avenge today's revenge. Seeing Rixianchen leaving, Rixiang Rigai shouted again. Damn it. Take revenge on me. Is there a mistake? It's obvious that you beat me first. It's good that I don't care about you. You son of a still wants to take revenge. Rixiangchen, who hadn't gone far, turned around immediately and walked back aggressively. It seems that I have to teach you a lesson. Be careful, I'm going to be very heavy. Rixiangchen clenched his fists with a sneer on his face. What are you going to do? Hyuga Riga took 2 steps back, looking at Rixiangchen in fear. I want to teach you a truth. This truth is that face is worthless. Look at you. Because if you want to regain a little face, you have to be beaten up. It's not worth it. After he finished speaking, Rixiangchen smashed it with a punch, and the speed was so fast that it was not something that a 4-year-old child could avoid. Bump. 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 After a few muffled noises, Rixiangchen left gracefully. Hyuga Rizari was lying on the ground, weeping sadly. That's right. Rixiangchen, who had just walked a few steps, turned his head, looked at Rizai who had been beaten into a big-headed doll and threatened, when I go back, I will say that I accidentally fell. Or I will beat you once I see you once. He was originally afraid that Rixiangchen would turn his head and beat him again, and he suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. Did you hear me? Hyuga Rizari shuddered, and then said with a crying voice, I know. He hadn't even thought about telling this shameful thing. After all, it was too shameful to be beaten by a recognized by the Hyuga family. Rixiangchen nodded with satisfaction. He found that bullying children felt good. I really fell. Rixiangchen sighed with emotion. Seeing Rixiangchen completely disappearing from the training ground, Rizaka wailed with a wow. Just now, for the sake of face, he restrained himself from making a sound. Now that there is no one, Rizari started crying. Although he had already left the training ground, the arrogant and domineering Rixiangchen still heard the cry of Rixiang Rizari. You have to face the crime. You are scared to death, and you dare to say harsh words. You deserve to be beaten. Back at home, Rixiangchen began to bathe and burn incense, hoping to have better luck today. Although Rixiangchen also knows that it is useless, it is good to give yourself a little comfort and let yourself feel ordinary. Although I have basically no shortage of things now, if I can get an artifact that lasts every second, or some kind of ability that defies the sky, I will be truly invincible in the future. Rixiangchen rubbed his hands, and muttered while sitting on the bed. Now he has enough abilities and enough, as long as they all grow to their peaks, not to mention defeating Kaguya, but Itai is an easy matter. Closing his eyes, the fluctuations in Ordinary's heart returned to a state of calm. In this state, Rixiangchen found that every move around him, the rhythm of the air, and the breath of insects all appeared in Rixiangchen's mind. And this range is still expanding. After half an hour, the entire Hyuga family, so the auras of people and creatures, all surfaced in Sun Xiangchen's mind. After a long time, Rixiangchen finally opened his eyes, and the faint blue eyes burst into a bright light, which was very dazzling in this dark night. I didn't expect that the arrogance of seeing and hearing, which has never improved, has actually improved. This is also an unexpected joy. Rixiangchen also showed a smile on his face. The best place to exercise is in the battle, at the most critical moment, to stimulate the potential of the human body and enhance the domineering. Therefore, this improvement made Rixiangchen very surprised. Of course, it was a surprise. The current domineering is not really useful to Rixiangchen. It's time to draw the lottery. Rixiangchen communicated with the system, and then entered the system space, without calling the system, and directly clicked on the lottery page. Then click on the lottery. As before, if you want to draw a lottery, you need to press twice. The first time is to select the items on the roulette, and the second time is to draw your own prize in the roulette. There are 10 prizes in total. They are, Bloodstained Boundary, Mew Dun, Golden Treasure of the King, Bear Fruit of Animals, Thunder Fruit of Nature, Perfect Version, and Sword of My King's Oath of Victory. The time and space of the last Millennium Beast, the Boundary of Blood, Wrong Done, Zanpei Kuto, Snow White, Armed Color Domineering, Collapsing Jade. Rixiangchen was dumbfounded, but there were also a few pits. Like the Golden Treasure of the King, it is not connected to the Golden Capital, and it is empty inside. What is the use of drawing this thing? Is it used to hold B? And that Raging Fruit is not as good as the Treasure of the King. Even if the Treasure of the King is abandoned, it still has its own special effects. Everything else is fine. But what makes Rixiangchen the most exciting is the time and space of the skills of Bennu and the end of the Millennium Beast. Needless to say, Bennu, the bug in the of death, get Bennu, and Rixiangchen can wave freely. The chaos of time and space is even more awesome. It can traverse the whole time and space, and it can kill me and count me as a loser. Even Rixiangchen, who thought he had enough abilities, couldn't help but show a greedy look, which made him too greedy. With excitement, Rixiangchen pressed the lottery button again. After pressing the button, Rixiangchen, who was originally excited, calmed down surprisingly. The pointer slowly stopped, and to the surprise of Rixiangchen, the pointer pointed to the black line in the middle of the armed color Domineering and Bennu. Rixiangchen suddenly became excited. According to the rules of the system, could it be that these two are his own? Xianchen jumped up happily, with Benyu, who am I still afraid of? Ha ha ha. Xianchen's calm just now could no longer be maintained, and he laughed wildly. But there are no good things when people are happy. Dogs are happy with a pot of soup, and rabbits are happy with a shot. The system that had been silent suddenly popped up. There is an error in the lottery. This lottery is invalid. Please host the lottery again. Xianchen's smile froze immediately. Life is such a big ups and downs. Just now, he was swimming in the sky, and now, in the blink of an eye, he was kicked into the ground by the system. System, you come out to me. I promise not to kill you. Xianchen said through gritted teeth. Thank for listening this audiobook. Please subscribe the channel for more videos like this. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.